Well. I know it's been a while since we've done a monthly favorites, but now that spring is right around the corner, I figured it's a great time for me to share with you guys a couple of recent pickups, as well as share with you guys a couple of movies, books, films, and TV shows that I've really been into over the past few months. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Now, surprisingly, we're actually going to do things a little bit backwards today. I actually kind of want to focus more on the lifestyle favorites and kind of save the fashion and tech for the end. So make sure to stick around if you guys are interested in those pickups. But first off, we're actually going to be talking about books. And yes, you might be a little caught off guard that I'm actually sharing some book recommendations, and as of late these two books have been on my reading list. First up is going to be Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. This is a sequel to the highly popular novel Ready Player 1. Some of you guys might have seen the movie, and I highly recommend checking out the book as well as checking out the sequel, because if you're into that science fiction genre, I guarantee this is going to be some really great writing, and you're going to be so involved in the story and the quest that you're literally not going to want to put it down. So if you're looking for some sort of fiction book, I definitely recommend checking out the Ready Player 1 series. You know, growing up I used to be obsessed with these sci-fi novels, everything from Hunger Games, the Divergent series, books like Percy Jackson, you know, that was all types of my shit. So Ready Player 2 is very reminiscent of that series, and I highly recommend giving this one a read. And the second book on my list that I'm actually currently reading is going to be A Promised Land, the autobiography by Barack Obama. This came out a couple of years ago, and it's a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, but as you guys can see, it is quite hefty, meaning that it might take me a while to get through the book. However, in the mornings I've really started to make it a habit of reading a book while I'm eating my breakfast. I feel like this is a really great way to start my days because I'm not only gaining new information, but I'm keeping myself engaged in the conversation. So if you guys are interested, definitely recommend checking out A Promised Land. And then in addition to that, once I finish that book, the next one on my list is actually going to be Principles by Ray Dalio. This is a book that my dad got me a couple of years ago, and I just never got around to finishing it, but I've heard really great things about this book as well. So if you're not looking for a fiction or an autobiography, then definitely check out Principles by Ray Dalio. Alright, now next up, let's move over to some TV shows I've been watching. As of late, there have been a ton of great series that have come out, and the first one we've obviously got to talk about is going to be Euphoria. You guys know I'm a huge fan of the entire series, and season 2 honestly came down to a crazy finale, so I'm very excited to see what is in store for season 3. But nonetheless, if you have never seen Euphoria, I highly recommend watching it, as it touches on a lot of controversial but important topics, especially for young audiences, and I think it sparks a pretty deep conversation about a lot of topics that people are uncomfortable to bring up. And nonetheless, the cinematography, the acting, the writing is all so stellar, and Euphoria probably is going to be one of my top shows of this year. Next up, moving over to some Apple TV shows, there have been some really great series coming out of Apple TV, and their latest show called We Crashed stars Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway, and it's based on the actual events of everything that happened to build up WeWork, and as the name suggests, eventually crashes. So it's a super interesting series. They've only released 3 episodes so far, so if you have Apple TV or you're looking to use your free trial, I definitely recommend checking out We Crashed. But in addition to that, there's also another Apple TV series called Severance, and basically the entire premise of this series is that you're able to sever your work life from your personal life, so that whenever you're at work you can't access your personal memories, and whenever you're at home you can't access your memories about work. So it's a super trippy concept. It's kind of a psychological thriller. I'm pretty much caught up, so if anyone else has seen Severance, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And finally, moving over to some Netflix shows, there are 2 that I highly recommend watching, and that's going to be Formula 1 Drive to Survive, and number 2 is going to be Top Boy. Number 1, Drive to Survive, I literally finished the new season in a weekend because it's so interesting to see how Formula 1 is played out and how these drivers and teams are competing against each other to win the championship. And if you know anything about F1, you know that last year there was a ton of controversy over the final race and who won. Seeing how everything played out over the entire season was a super interesting series. But before the series came out, I literally was never into Formula 1, but now I can definitely see myself being more invested into the season. And yeah, let me know if you got an F1 team down below. For me, I think it's got to be Team Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. He's just the GOAT, man. And the second series I was talking about, and something I was actually watching right before I filmed this, is going to be Top Boy. The second season just came out, and it's basically about who's going to become the top drug dealer in London. Very gritty, very real. There's a little bit of violence in it, but I love the first season, and I'm very excited to see where they go with the second season. Alright, and next up, let's move over to some movies that I've been watching lately. There have been a couple that I've seen in theaters. Obviously, we gotta talk about Batman. You know, now that it's been out for a couple of weeks, there's obviously a lot of debate about which Batman film is the best. And right before I saw the new one, I actually went back and rewatched the entire Dark Knight series, as well as the Ben Affleck Batman, and I've gotta say, Robert Pattinson's portrayal of this Batman was pretty spot on. I think he does a great job of being the Batman, maybe not so much as Bruce Wayne, but I think that's something that we can easily develop later on in the series. But overall, I think the cinematography and the the editing and the VFX of this Batman just blow it completely out of the park to make it my personal favorite Batman movie yet. So if you guys disagree, let me know in the comments down below. I will give The Dark Knight a close second, but yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And in addition to that, a couple of other movies that I've recently been watching on Netflix. There's this new movie out called The Adam Project. It's a sci-fi comedy movie starring Ryan Reynolds, and I've got to say it brought a couple of tears to my eyes, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a super interesting movie and I highly recommend you watch that one as well. In addition to that, I recently wrapped up the Genius documentary, and for me personally as a Kanye fan, I've got to say seeing the entire process of how he came to his stardom was truly crazy. The fact that he basically had someone documenting his entire life for the past 20 years, and to see all of that come to fruition in a 3-part series documentary, I think gave a lot of background and insight into Kanye's past, as well as how he got to where he is today. You know, obviously there's a lot of shit going on with Kanye right now, but if you guys have any thoughts on the documentary, feel free to leave them down below and we can discuss it out there. And finally, a movie that I really enjoyed watching on HBO Max is called Nightmare Alley. It's got a star-studded cast, but Yeller. Did you ever watch Nightmare Alley?
No.
Bro, it's freaking fire. Sorry, I got a little distracted on that phone call there, but Nightmare Alley, if you have HBO Max, definitely recommend giving that one a watch. Finally, I'm just going to list off a couple other movies I definitely recommend checking out. Kimmy is a super dope action thriller movie. It's kind of based off the Alexa devices, but definitely give that one a watch as well. And then Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch, I also gave that one a watch. If you're into that more unique cinematography, and if you know anything about Wes Anderson's films, then you're definitely going to appreciate The French Dispatch. And finally, The King's Man. If you've been a fan of the Kingsman trilogy, then you definitely got to give this one a watch, because it's actually the prequel and shows how the Kingsman came to be. Next up, moving over to some tech. I'm not gonna lie, there haven't been a ton of tech upgrades that I've made. The only pieces I do kind of want to talk about is going to be the iPad mini. I'm trying to get a lot more use out of the iPad mini, just kind of as a daily device, something that easily travels with me anywhere I go, so that I'm just able to view my content, use it as a notebook, use it as an e-reader, watch YouTube or Netflix, and it all just fits so seamlessly in this form factor. So I've been making it a habit of trying to use this more on the daily. So if you guys are interested in a review on the iPad mini, definitely let me know and I can make that happen. But overall, I've been super impressed with this device. And then the only other piece of tech I've been really rocking with lately is actually going to be the AirPods Max. I've mentioned it before, but since I've been working from home lately, a pair of high quality headphones has honestly become a crucial investment, so that I'm not only able to listen to some high quality music, but anytime I'm editing, just having that over the ear surround sound really helps me fine tune my edits. And the fact that it just pairs so seamlessly with my Apple devices makes the AirPods Max my go-to device, and probably one of my favorite tech products of the month. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on whether or not you've picked up a pair. It honestly kind of seems to be a trend that TikTokers are all picking up this new AirPods Max, even though I've already been on the train. So let me know your thoughts down below. And finally, we're saving the best for last, but a couple of fashion pickups. You guys have noticed throughout the vlogs I've been doing a little bit of shopping lately, and some pieces you might have seen, others you might not have seen. But first off, we're going to be talking about this OVO sweater. I actually picked this up from the OVO warehouse sale, but I've honestly been rocking this sweater super hard lately because it's so heavyweight, and it's honestly made out of some pretty high quality material that's definitely keeping me warm. However, as we move into the spring months, I definitely needed to pick up some sort of puffer. Now, the great thing about a puffer is that you can easily layer it with hoodies, t-shirts, sweaters, so that you're staying warm, but it's also acting as a super lightweight outer jacket. Trust me guys, it's not super cold outside anymore, so carrying around a huge puffer is not super viable, which is why I've been leaning much more towards this puffer vest style. And in addition to that, we've got to talk about the Nocta Hot Steps. You guys can see for yourself, but I have been a super big fan of these shoes. I surprisingly have picked them up in both the black and white colorways, so let me know your thoughts on which pair you prefer down below. For me, the whites are super dope, especially for your everyday fits, but if I'm kind of going for that more athletic wear, then the black pair is definitely going to be dope. And I know these shoes are going to spark a lot of debate, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Are they going to be replacing all the other dad sneakers, or are these just a fad and I wasted a lot of money on these? And one of my last fashion pieces, but I talked about this in a previous vlog, but I recently picked up this nice navy blazer from Ralph Lauren. It was actually only $35 from a consignment store, but it's got some really nice sterling silver details, so it's got that very vintage polo feel. But moving into the spring months, the blazer is definitely going to be a versatile piece that you can easily layer to elevate any sort of outfit. But guys, before this video ends, I do want to talk about a giveaway I'm doing for this Herschel backpack. I realize you guys have been going crazy hard with all the support over these past couple of videos, and as much as I would love to keep this back for myself, I know one of you guys would really appreciate it, so I've made it super simple to enter. The only problem is that you have to be located within the United States. But recently I joined the creator program for a super dope app called Nate. But if you're someone like me who does a lot of online shopping, then Nate is going to become your new best friend. Basically, all you have to do is whenever you're on any sort of product page, you just hit the share button and Nate's going to pop up, and then it'll fill out the entire checkout process for you, and that's it. That's literally it. All you have to do is check out with Nate, and it's going to save you so much time so you don't have to manually input that every single time. In addition to that, another really great feature is that you can actually save products to your list so that later on in the future when you're ready to purchase it, you can easily come back and purchase it with one click. Now, I've actually created 3 different lists, one for camera gear, one for travel, and one for my birthday wish list. So all you have to do to enter the giveaway is number 1, download the Nate app and follow all 3 of those lists. Number 2 is join our Discord, which will be linked in the description down below so I can contact you. And number 3 is making sure you drop a like and comment on this video. Unfortunately, this giveaway is only available for people who live in the United States, and I'll be randomly picking the winner based on who follows my list. So if you guys are interested, definitely check the links in the description down below to follow my list, and one of you guys is going to be receiving this super dope backpack. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed a couple of these spring favorites. Let me know down below what was your favorite pickup, as well as any suggestions you have for future videos. But that's it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, y'all.